Well, today's Riding the Thin Line adventure brought us over here to Cataloochee, a portion of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Do a little bit of exploring of some roads. Says it's 48 degrees, January the 20th. It's a Friday. Yeah, Friday. Wouldn't believe it took me that long to figure out what day of the week it was, but I did. But anyway, just over here, just exploring some of these gravel roads, trying to figure out ways of connecting them together for longer rides. I got a late start. Was rather cool this morning, so this will be just a short afternoon. Looks like a well-maintained gravel road going into Cataloochee. May ride up here and see if there's any elk out and about. But you can come over here in September, October and hear the big bull elk bugling. Now, if you go on YouTube and look around and do a search, you can find all kind of people getting extremely close to the animals. I enjoy seeing them, but I don't want to get up in their grill. They are, after all, animals. But I loaded the bike up again as if I was traveling. Loaded in the camping gear. So I basically got everything on here but toiletry and clothes. And food, of course, as if I was going to travel, just trying to get used to all the new stuff on the Africa Twin. Still haven't even got 2,000 miles on it. 1,784 miles. So yeah, I'm getting used to a whole lot of new. New motorcycle, some new gear, new luggage, the way it sits on the bike. I'm just trying to get comfortable and used to riding this bike with a little bit of load on it. Figure I got about 60 pounds of gear on here, so it's not much. Just the same. And now, what was that noise? Headset's talking to me. I did not hear what it said. I'll be back. Well, I figured out what was talking to me in my headset. Some more of the new. I discovered the other day, after spending, a good hour or so working on the wiring harness for my Garmin Zumo. And I put the wiring harness on the handlebars here, so I'd have GPS. With the plans of running the Mid-Atlantic Mid-Atlantic BDR in May, I didn't want to rely on a phone as my sole navigational aid. Of course, I have maps, but maps make things a little more challenging than the GPS. But I stumbled across the Gaia map app and started looking at it, downloaded it into my phone, and went ahead and bought the premium subscription for it so I could record. And in the midst of doing all this, I did come up with the conclusion this motorcycle has Apple CarPlay. So there on the display is showing the Gaia app on the TFT, and you can see I'm laying down a blue track because I'm recording it just to try that out. So when it started talking, it kind of threw me for a loop, but it just said when I covered a mile, and the screen went dark. Okay. Phone message from now my phone's talking to me again. Got a message. So all this new stuff distracting me a little bit. So just getting used to all of the things with this motorcycle. But I will say, you know, after 1,788 miles, I really do like this motorcycle. I do have some concerns not having a clutch. You know, everything I know about off-road or gravel road riding, especially in rougher terrain, involves using the clutch. So, yep, I've got a little bit of a learning curve to go through. I ride this bike most of the time in Sport Mode 1, and sometimes I'll ride it in Sport Mode 2, but I've configured my own user mode, you know, how I want the traction control and the power delivery and the torque delivery. But there's the Kent Brim, probably closed for the season. Really do like this motorcycle and getting used to it. Oh, Siri's talking to me now. So all this new stuff, just trying to get my head around the crazy technology. But having the Gaia app on my TFT display, I may or may not need the Zumo. Since I went through the trouble of lifting the tank and wiring it to the battery. Well, I didn't wire it straight to the battery. I just wired it to a pigtail so I could plug it into the battery. That way I don't have to leave it on the bike all the time. But anyway, now I have a choice. If I can figure out this Gaia app and how to follow a track or route, that might work better for me. But we'll see. Try to get out and ride as much as possible to try to get more familiar with some of this stuff, but it is January and it gets cold, and I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I do not like cold weather. I like it when it's hot. But coming into Cataloochee Valley here, beautiful place, part of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. When they reintroduced the elk here, this was the primary area I guess they started at. But you can come up here fall of the year and hear those big bull elks bugling. And it's a sight to see. There's some interesting books about this Cataloochee Valley, the history of it, and I've enjoyed reading those books. But I can't imagine growing up over here turn of the century before they turned this all into the park. So can't complain. Beautiful day, a little on the chilly side, but a beautiful day. One of the churches. Try it up here and see if there's any elk out and about. There's the school. Some of these buildings that are remaining up here are pretty interesting. A friend of mine's daughter got married in one of these churches up here. Little footbridge if you need to scare the poo out of yourself. No elk. Well, they're not out here in the fields. It sure is one beautiful place. I did see a couple of wild turkeys out in the field. Gosh, the last time I was over here, my dog Woodrow was just a tiny little puppy. We couldn't keep him out of the creek. We stopped down here at the Caldwell House, which is that over there on the right. It's a little, the current in the creek pushed them around a little bit. It's kind of funny.